Alright guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, I'm in sunlight for once. I'm not going to be working at night. But bad news, I ended up having a leak pretty much all over the engine. It started from, well, after I fixed the thermostat housing leak. Remember I told you guys that this was broken? I don't know if I mentioned in the other videos, but pretty much I broke this little nipple or stem that comes out of the radiator. So I ended up taking the radiator out, but I only noticed it maybe like 2 days into driving. Only drove it twice, but you could see that it sprayed all over here. The thermostat housing and the alternator was pretty much just like spray that was spewing out from here because I forced the coolant hose, the coolant overflow hose, to tighten onto here. But I'm assuming it was just still leaking through the pressure and spraying all over there. So I ended up taking the radiator out and I bought a new one over here. So I'm about to open it and hopefully it matches up. I got it on Amazon, honestly, for maybe, was it like $80? I think it was 80 bucks. So maybe like 75 honestly, or 85, something like that. For sure less than 100. But as you can see, it's made in China. There was a Denso one that was like an upgraded version, a thicker radiator that could fit into the car for maybe like 130 after taxes and shipping, but I ended up just cheaping out and getting this one though. So hopefully it should be okay, but I'm about to compare it to the old one. Okay guys, so here it is. This is the new radiator. Transmission lines right here and the coolant lines here and there. I'm honestly really excited. This is the first time that I've installed a radiator by myself, so this should be fun and should be easy because it's on my 2005 Camry. On the Camrys it's easy because, you know, Toyota, and well, old Toyota I should say, older. And let me just unwrap this and get the old one, the old radiator that I took out. Surprisingly, it was actually the same Toyota one that came, the factory Toyota one that came on the car. So I'm kind of sad that I broke it, but when I show you guys like more closer to it over there, to this one over here, then you'll see why it's probably better that I replaced it. So let's see. I almost forgot that I have to remove the fans from the old radiator. I think it's only 3 bolts from what I've seen in videos. So 3 10 millimeter bolts. So it should be easy. So I'm just gonna lay this down on the ground and take off the fans. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can tell, I did end up breaking some of it. I think this is old. Yeah, this is plastic. I think this is part of the radiator fans. So I ended up breaking, I think this, the clips right here. This one should look like this one. So this side is gone. What else did I break? There was something else that I broke too. I think it was part of the hood latch, the plastic part that that covers some of the hood latch. But you live and you learn. So let me remove the fans and we'll take a better look at the radiator. Okay, so let's set this down. It shouldn't leak anymore because it's been sitting on top of that tray for a while. So here are the fans. I'm not really worried about the radiator being on the floor because that's the one I'm going to replace. Let me get my ratchet and remove these fans. It's only, yeah, 3 10 millimeters. Oh, this isn't a 10, but 1 there, 2 and 3, and the rest just comes off this plastic, I think. So it's only those 3. And then I'll put these fans onto the new radiator. All right, so I removed the 3 10 millimeters, and 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. So you literally just slide it up and off. And yeah, that's the fans for the radiator. So I'm gonna get this radiator and compare it to the new one that I got. It should be pretty much identical. So, and I'll show you guys more close-ups of the old radiator. So here are the fans with the 3 bolts that I took out. I put them there to try not to lose them. Here's the new radiator. Unfortunately, there is some bends in the fins, but you know, it can't be perfect. I wish it was, but oh well. Here are the clips that I took out of the old radiator from the transmission lines, I believe. As you can see, here's the bottom end of the old radiator. It's kind of rusted right there and there. Can't tell how bad the rest is, but here's the upper end. can't tell if this is a rust from when I ran it with distilled water or just rust over time. But you can see it's like a lot dirtier, just covered in burnt oil or dirt. I don't know what it is, but this new one looks a lot better. Now I just gotta replace or put on the fans onto the new radiator, and then from there I should be able to put it into the car. So I just put the old fans onto the new radiator. It was pretty simple. You just slide them into these two plastic parts here, and then you just start tightening up the 10 millimeters, 1, 2, and 3. And then also make sure, I just noticed this, that you take off the old, I guess, rubber seating points from the old radiator. It was sitting right there and I didn't even notice until I was about to look into the engine bay and see where I was going to put the new radiator. The old one is right there, so that one should stay there, and I'm guessing this one goes over here too. So that's, oh, actually probably opposite. No, actually that's good. So just like that, and that should be good. So I should be able to sit the radiator onto those two spots and then just start tightening everything up. So now that I've sat the radiator down into its two seating points, I'm gonna start pretty much tightening up this bar here that holds the part of the radiator from the top, and then see if I can tighten down the latch too. And then I'll tighten up the hoses, the lower radiator hose, and the two transmission lines with the new clamps that I got. These over here, I think I got these from Harbor Freight, but these are the new clamps that I'm going to be installing or replacing these with, because I do not like these clamps. And then once I have that all tightened up, I should be able to put coolant into the system. I just tightened up this top bar that holds onto the radiator, and I also reinstalled the latch. So there's 4 10 millimeter bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to tighten that back up. And these are the little slots that hold onto the radiator too. I also reinstalled the latch, and as you can see, this is the plastic that I broke off. This plastic is still holding on by a clip down here, but normally would have another latch or another plastic that would hold onto here too. So luckily I didn't break most of it. It's still covering this bottom end. I'm thinking it's covering it to cover it from like dirt, I'm thinking, but I did end up breaking those. I'm gonna tighten up these bolts just in case. I think they're already tightened up, but I will tighten them up just to make sure. You can kind of tell that the condenser is like really dirty and old, but maybe in the future I'll replace it. But for now it's tightened up. Now that I got that done, I have 3 more bolts. This is for the air intake, and this is for the battery, this part right here. So now that I've tightened everything up, I should be able to go down and tighten up all the hoses, the 2 transmission line hoses, and the lower radiator hose. So I'm gonna do that right now. I just tightened up the bottom end. Now that I've done that, I tightened up the radiator hose. I put on the extension to have this funnel sit here. I'll start filling up the radiator soon, but first I'm going to reinstall this, I guess maybe dirt reservoir or a resonator. I'm not too sure what it's for, but it's part of the air intake. So I'll install that part first, which goes down here. I think it goes right here. The top sits right here, and then I'll install the air intake, which bolts onto, I think, these 2 bolts right here, this one and this one. So let's do that. All right, so now that those 2 parts are in, the air intake and the air resonator, I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna start filling it up with coolant, so hopefully it doesn't leak. I'll be watching it from the bottom and from the thermostat housing to make sure, but I don't think it should. So let's start putting I'm gonna use the old coolant that I had just to make sure, because I have a new bottle over there, but this is so new that I'm pretty sure it's still good. So I just put coolant into the system. I didn't notice any leaks. I had this cardboard under here just in case, just to watch it and not to stain the concrete. I think that's transmission fluid. So no leaks so far. So I pretty much filled it up. Pretty much took a whole gallon plus some. So this is a new, completely new 50/50. So this is the amount that I had to add. I'm hoping it'll suck in a little bit more. Hopefully. What is that? Not too sure what that is. Huh. It's like some little black specks. So it's definitely gonna need a flush in the future because I haven't completely flushed it. I just been draining and filling it. So now that I filled it up with coolant, I'm gonna reinstall the battery and then turn on the car. Hopefully I can keep burping it. I think I'm gonna try to lift it up too to get it on the incline and try to get more air bubbles out. So I just turned on the car. I was pretty much burping it. Then I close off the system to try to make the car relearn the idle. You pretty much turn it to the on position twice. 1, 2, and then turn on the car. As you put your foot on the brake, you put the car into drive with the emergency park up, and then you let go of the brake. It'll move a little bit, but as long as your emergency brake isn't messed up, you should hold the car in drive, and then it should relearn the idle by itself. So that's what I just did. And so far no leaks, and the idle went back to 900, so that's good. The only thing I need to do is probably let the car cool down a bit and then disconnect this so I can tighten this and this, because I did notice a little bit of coolant right here. So pretty sure it's leaking from like not being clamped down. So I'll tighten that back up and hopefully that should stop whatever this leak is here. All right, so it's a little later in the day now, or it's turning night I should say. So I just waited for the engine to cool down so I could clean up the dried up, or the coolant that was burnt off, all this white stuff here. So I'm gonna clean it up and also reattach or clamp this hose back on, and I think this end too. Okay, so I just tightened up everything. I actually closed the hood, but tightened up the overflow coolant hose clamp, cleaned up the area, and now I think I'm gonna actually drive it and see if everything's cool. Literally, hopefully it doesn't overheat. So I'm probably gonna end up driving it in like maybe like an hour when traffic cools down. So I'll let you guys know how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't overheat on the road. If not, I guess you guys will know, so let's find out. Alright guys, so I'm in my Camry now. You can see the mileage there. I just turned the car on. I did burp it earlier, but now I'm gonna drive the car around. I'm gonna go to the store, probably go wash the car, and then hopefully it doesn't leak on the way there or when it gets back, and hopefully it doesn't overheat. So let's find out. So far so good, it didn't overheat. Into food for less. And yeah, I have to keep checking if it's leaking or overheating. All right, so far so good. No overheating yet. Just gave it a quick wash. So, looking pretty clean. So I'm gonna drive it to get some Chinese food real quick and then drive home, park it in the garage and see if it's leaking or not. It shouldn't be leaking, it hasn't been overheating. So yeah, so far so good. All right, I'm back home, so I'm gonna open up the hood and then check to see if it's leaking, and then I'll check the bottom too, just to make sure. So let me turn on the lights for the garage. All right guys, so I opened up the hood and thank God there's no leaks. There's no coolant leaking from the thermostat housing, which was an issue before, so I didn't notice any. I checked below and it's not dripping anything. The only coolant I did notice was a little pool of coolant that was like down there, right under the radiator cap. So I don't know if it was because this radiator cap is like loose or broken, or I just need a new radiator cap. So I'm gonna end up getting a new one from Amazon tonight. And by the time that one gets in, I'll run the car again and see if it starts leaking. So hopefully it doesn't, and if it doesn't, I'll do another video about actually doing a tune-up on the car, like changing the oil, the spark plugs, and all that. And yeah, so that's in the next video. But in this video, I just wanted to make sure that it's not leaking anymore after I installed the radiator. And so far, so good. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys comment or subscribe, it'll definitely help. But until next time, guys.